Military investigators are trying to learn why a C-130 cargo plane being flown to retirement suddenly just plunged to the ground. Wednesday's crash killed 9 members of the Puerto Rico National Guard, and this is the latest in a string of military aircraft accidents. David Martin is at the Pentagon with more on this story. David, good morning.
Good morning. The investigation into what caused Wednesday's crash is just beginning, but it's hard not to think the plane's age played a role. That particular aircraft was built in 1965 and was one of the oldest in the Air Force.
The final flight of this C-130 was never supposed to end like this. A dive into the ground and a fireball. All those aboard never had a chance.
We have confirmed that 9 airmen from the Puerto Rico National Guard were aboard the aircraft.
The plane had just taken off from Savannah, Georgia, bound for Arizona, where it was to be retired in an aircraft boneyard. This after a career which included ferrying supplies to survivors of some of the Caribbean's worst hurricanes. It was a tragedy for the island of Puerto Rico, which declared 9 days of mourning for the 9 victims. For the Pentagon, it was the latest in a string of deadly accidents which have claimed 25 lives in less than 2 months, and left leaders like the Commandant of the Marine Corps searching for answers.
There's not one single thing you can't say it's because of this.
An analysis of accident data obtained by Military Times found a nearly 40% increase in accidents since 2013. That's when congressional spending limits known as sequestration went into effect, and by one estimate cost the Pentagon $147 billion over 5 years. That forced cuts in training and maintenance. At the same time, aircraft were in increasingly high demand for operations like the bombing campaign against ISIS. Sequestration has ended for now, but Chief Pentagon spokesperson Dana White says there are no quick fixes when it comes to aircraft safety.
You can't buy the time back, and then you can't buy the training hours back.
The fatal crashes get the public attention, but the rise in accidents was due to relatively minor mishaps in which no one was killed. But the aircraft have to be taken out of service for repairs, which means fewer planes and fewer flying hours for pilots who start to lose their skills. John?
David, thanks. It's the human end of all these sometimes abstract conversations we have about budgets.